MotorWeek is made possible by Rock Auto, Tire Rack, and Die Hard. With your host, John Davis.
Well, hello and welcome again to MotorWeek 90. We're glad to have you with us. One of the most challenging tasks for an import car maker is tailoring their products to the driving conditions of America and the habits of the American driver. The Porsche 911 is a car that has stubbornly resisted the needs of many American drivers. It's never been available with one option Americans seem to want most, an automatic transmission. But it has one now, a new transmission that Porsche calls Tiptronic, and it comes to us in yet another new version of the venerable rear-engine Porsche, the 911 Carrera 2. Before we get to the Tiptronic automatic transmission, we have to tell you a bit about the car. The Porsche Carrera 2 is new for 90. The successor to the legendary 911 Carrera, it gets all the chassis upgrades that bowed last year on the all-wheel drive Carrera 4. That means the torsion bar suspension of the Carrera has been replaced by coil springs. Also, steering is power-assisted and brakes are of the anti-lock variety. In other words, this is the rear-drive 911 for the 90s. The bodywork has also been freshened up. Aside from the Carrera 2 badge on the back, there's little exterior difference between this car and its more expensive all-wheel drive brother. It also gets the Carrera 4's engine, a 247 horsepower 3.6-liter flat air-cooled 6. The most powerful engine ever offered in a production 911, it features twin spark plugs and an electronic engine management system. Coupled to that engine is either a 5-speed manual transmission or this 4-speed automatic. The transmission that Porsche has dubbed Tiptronic, for reasons you'll understand in a minute. The most sophisticated automatic we've ever driven, it works in 3 modes. The first is in the typical put it in drive and let it go mode. Even operated like this, the transmission has the capability to sense wheel slip and to upshift if necessary to keep the car under control on a slippery surface. Secondly, the Tiptronic has a driver-influenced mode. If the driver pushes the accelerator hard, the transmission automatically shifts to its performance program, one of 5 control programs ranging from economy to full performance. Finally, there is the manual mode. Tipping the lever forward executes an upshift. Tipping it backward executes a downshift. Even so, electronic controls keep the driver from over-revving if too low a gear is selected or if the driver forgets to shift. Since there is no shift gate, a gear indicator in the speedometer face lets you know where you are. Unless the car is being driven hard, as it was here, it pulls away from stoplights in second gear. Also, the 1-2 upshift happens automatically, even in the manual mode. Getting everything we could from the transmission, we sent our Carrera to the end of the quarter mile in 14.8 seconds with a final speed of 99. 0 to 60 took 6.7 seconds, a bit longer than we expected. Our 5-speed Carrera 4, which is a heavier car with the same amount of power, was much quicker. But while the transmission may somewhat compromise the car's acceleration, Porsche didn't compromise on the brakes. The anti-lock system on our car was excellent, needing only 105 feet on average to stop the car from 60 miles per hour. As for handling, the Carrera 2 blends the predictability of the Carrera 4 with the challenge and thrill of earlier Carreras. Like Porsches of the past, this one likes to go through turns with its back end on the edge, but like the Carrera 4, it gives you plenty of warning before the back end breaks loose and the opportunity to recover if it does. In highway driving, the Carrera 2 is firm, but rides better than any car with such a short wheelbase has a right to. We were more concerned by our car's tendency to wander slightly off course on the highway. The power steering also felt dead on center, not solid like that of the Carrera 4. Like the Carrera 4, the 2 has the automatically extending rear spoiler that pops up at highway speed. We're getting used to this feature, which seemed a bit silly at first. Die-hard Porsche fans will love this car regardless, and at first glance, it's hard to tell the difference between this Carrera 2 and the previous 911 Carrera. But a closer look reveals airbags for both the driver and passenger. Gauge faces are new, though they occupy the same, sometimes obscured positions on the dash. Seats are also carried over, and that's unfortunate because their ability to hold the driver in place is not in keeping with the car's ability to generate cornering forces. Sport seats are an option. Room is adequate for drivers up to 6 feet tall, and visibility is excellent, something that can't be said of all sports cars. But the steering wheel is not adjustable. The overall dash layout is the same as before, which means drivers unfamiliar with 911s will have to read the owner's manual to figure out where some of the switches are located. We can't complain too much about the heat and ventilation system anymore. This new system, lifted from the Porsche 944, is self-explanatory compared to the confused system of levers and unmarked controls in past 911s. The radio is still placed pretty far away from the driver, but we liked our car's compact displayer anyway. Console switches are for manual spoiler deployment, locks, and emergency flashers. At the rear, things are pretty tight. Seat backs are most useful when left down. This provides room for extra luggage. The front compartment will also hold a few soft bags, so luggage capacity is better than it first looks. The Porsche Carrera 2 is EPA rated at 16 city, 23 highway. Our mileage loop produced 20 miles per gallon. Not bad for a car with such performance. Interior noise in our car registered 70 decibels at 60 miles per hour. As for price, the Carrera 2 Tiptronic starts at $61,280. Targa and Cabriolet Tiptronic models are also available. Plus, the transmission is destined for the 944 next year. As for hits, we like the Carrera 2's highly evolved Tiptronic transmission, powerful engine, and capable brakes. For misses, there's the awkward placement of switches and controls on the dash, though we've come to accept them as part of the car's character. Our real disappointment comes from the Carrera 2's highway steering manners, which we hope was an aberration in our test car. Overall, the 911 Carrera 2 manages to retain all of the traditional rear-engine Porsche charm, and the Tiptronic automatic makes this Porsche accessible to drivers who would normally be put off by such a car, and it does that without detracting too much from Porsche performance. The Carrera 2 Tiptronic could create a whole new breed of Porsche fun.